There are moments when anxiety does not and feels like being locked inside a private purgatory constructed entirely from your own mission, where those invisible walls and every attempt to quiet them only amplify your awareness that you were alone with. There are moments when it feels like you have abandoned you, fall in darkness without ever breaking a surface that confirms action or orientation. And there are moments when it feels like you're sitting in an ocean so deep that the floor beneath you, sediment press your feet, but there's no floor beneath you. There's no sediment to press your feet against. There's no boundary that signals descent will eventually stop. What's good, Cutthroat Mob? Welcome back to Peace of Mind Reloaded After Dark. I'm Princess the Goddess, your host. And if you're here, let me warn you early. We don't sugarcoat here. We don't do fake healing or none of that fake shit. We don't spiritual dress for clicks. This is trench. This is war language. Vital information. Now, last episode, Spirit on Fire, the battle within, where the soul steals. We went straight to him back. Talked about spiritual warfare without the fairy tales. Exposed generational trauma, soul exhaustion, action as a spiritual trap, and how unseen forces exploit fear, lust, and low self-worth. I told you flat out that healing ain't soft, it ain't cute, and it damn sure ain't comfortable. Enlightenment burns before it, before power through discipline, awareness, and brutal honesty. I talk that same fire and we aim it directly at your mind. Because if I told you that you falling with anxiety isn't just a disorder or not just stress, not just some random chemical function in your brain, but that anxiety is a battlefield response. Tonight's episode is a science, the significance, and the architecture breaking down every major type of anxiety, the stages, the severity, and what is actually happening inside your nervous system when the body feels like it's under attack. By the end of this episode, you're going to understand what so many people feel like they're losing their damn mind and what the system benefits when you never figure out what's happening. But before we go on further, I have a special guest with me. He's my man, my everything at once. Everyone, please join me in giving him a warm welcome. Please fill Mac. Okay, right there.
Whoa.
Yeah,
now in my blow and popping.
All right. So, this episode we're gonna be talking about, and I'm gonna be asking you questions, and I'm gonna, share our perspectives world. I want you to share your perception or perspective, and invite you. Is that okay?
Smoke jumper juice. Let me get a headshot. Hey, first of all, I want to be positive. To everybody out there. First off, I think I think anxiety is as I think higher up. So I being your superpower is like a higher up thing. People hear reason, some people hear no reason at all. Some just to distract people, but in the positive dinner. I have anxiety attacks sometimes. I, I I'll be at a test. In fact, I didn't tell you the truth, but I'm in people. Uh, the truth lasts longer than a lie will die way fast. So that's how I look at anxiety. One way I deal with it though is just current inside of the lines. It's clear kind of thing, but you know, keep it positive.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank I heard hope that really positive feedback. Um Before we move forward further with this episode, I want y'all to ask yourself before we go any further. What if your anxiety isn't weakness, but awareness with direction? If your panic is in dysfunction, awareness is more. Really sit there and ask yourself that. Let it sit and resonate with you before you answer. And then when you figure out your answer, you're more than welcome to come back and share your answer. But for now, just let it sit. Let to segment when we it's not just fear, it's a systemic disruption. Anxiety is often the trembling care of resistance. But that simplification ignores the fact that anxiety is a full body and full brain event that reorganizes cognition, emotion, interpretation simultaneously, and creating a state in which the nervous system behaves as whether concrete evidence supports the conclusion. When anxiety intensifies, it does not simply make you comfortable, it adjusts your threshold in neuroreception, heightened packaging, it primes your body for reaction, which means decision influence or just when later self destructive. This is how anxiety can push individuals towards fights they later regret. Towards distancing. People were not, your loved ones or your friends or family, anybody. Towards choices that can escalate for suspicion that fracture trust, um, or towards drastic actions simply to interrupt the unbearable internal pressure of uncertainty. So anxiety does not always meant shake hands and shallow things. It means that irritability, impatience, or hyper alert or hyper awareness. Scanning of social environments or a persistent feeling that something beneath the surface is offered, misaligned or intentionally revealed. So moving forward, we'll talk about the previously mentioned train tracks, dotted lines, and the architecture of alignment. When Mac, aka Lord I, when he describes anxiety as something outside the line or as its train tracks, framework of that reflects cognitive stability in motion because a train is not free floating. It's guided by rails, or chain and trigger. So as long as the train remains in those rails, its movement is powerful yet controlled. forceful yet predictable. But the movement it derails. The moment it derails, the same engine that once symbolized strength becomes an instrument for AI structure no longer aligns with its path. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. It doesn't. It doesn't exist. It can't. A train can't go. It's not on the tracks, and it's simple as that. It
Right.
can't. But however, some be very less to go without any train tracks. That's me. Anxiety attack. It's not just anxiety getting the attacks. But however, you keep it on track, or if you color inside of the lines which you're drawing, it's whatever attack.
And no, like I said, that's a framework of mind that reflects cognitive stability mode. Now, walking within the train tracks, it represents intentional thought, thought discipline, or cognitive boundaries and emotional motivation coming out of them. It represents deviation from containment into derailment. It's not evidence that train poor constructed. It is evidence that alignment and lost. If that makes any sense, does it make it? That makes sense. Okay.
Of course, it makes sense. That's the whole point of a track. A track, like a if you follow the dotted line, if you was to draw, you it's not line, and so you don't line up in line. You're just you're the right now.
All right. So, in neurological terms, this can mirror moments in the prefrontal cortex. That's other words, the front of your brain, right? So there are moments when the prefrontal cortex, that's responsible for and executive control, is overridden by and limbic system. It prioritizes perceived threat over measured analysis. Train filters the violent shift that occurs, when regulation the mind is thrown off of its intended. It was deep. It was so deep. This is also where the concept of exercising the brain becomes critical, because most study not the dental is through repetition, um, thought pattern, um, and environmental inputs that reinforce regulation. There are some things,
Okay.
yes.
Looking for what are coping things the doctors say, because I just found out. So it's me I have anxiety after all these years, and I just turned 36. Oh yeah, my name Philip. By the way, yeah. So the doctors will say listen to some storm and rain clouds, listen to that kind of stuff, and that it is to hear a doctor say after all this time I just found out this anxiety. Open is on the set is just like coloring in or following a person in line, like who was in you had the trace, and that's how you draw a P, how you draw right, and you could just trace the lines that right there, draw with another that I do, and everybody has some type of anxiety is what I heard, but I never thought I did. So hey,
Right. Completely. That's completely understandable. Um, See, listen to white noise or heavy thunder or rhythmic rain or even like opera or, or ambient sounds. It's not escapism, liberatory modulation. It's a way of nerve that teaches it to tolerate intensity without spiraling, much like choosing to intensely rather than drifting outside of them. If that makes any sense, right? Like a, so like a way of like to keep you mentally, mentally sane. You say your it keeps you from your mental from spiraling out of control in in situations that your brain or your mind might you know um, make you believe or might trick you into thinking that might alert you into thinking that you're in what type of shit and necessarily have to be danger. Anxiety is an alert within within your mind, right? So like we'll get further into that later on in this episode. We move to segment. We're going to be talking about now. This is where I come in and how I'm going to be sharing with you guys my interpretation of anxiety, right? So for me, anxiety is only misalignment, right? It's evasion. Evasion feels different because it implies that something foreign has entered a space out secure and has begun to claim it as their residence or as it is, right? Okay. For instance, roaches. Roaches do not belong in a clean room. Yet once they appear, they alter the atmosphere entirely because even a single thing is the implication that there are more hidden in the wall, beneath the floors, or inside crevices that are immediately, you know, most destabilizing part is not it's not killing one roach. It's knowing that the presence of one suggests multiplication, and concealment transforms into vigilance. So instead of oppositely, they can and uninvited. They reproduce through rumination. They hide in the corner of memory and imagination. Even when you neutralize one, the system that generated it remains active, which forces you into a state of anticipatory readiness. You begin preparing for the next appearance before it even manifests. This is how anxiety shifts from episodic discomfort to chronic vigilance, where the mind scans continuously first and that becomes fragile because it feels so scary. So infestation anxiety doesn't mean the house is structurally unsound. It means the lived experience inside the house has disrupted. The foundation remains intact, but the atmosphere is contaminated. And this doesn't just happen; this happens with people. Their spirits, energies that should be left behind, or could most as well. That distinction matters because if you say manifestation for structural collapse, you be for identity addressing the intrusion. That makes sense. You know?
Yeah, because you have pure and you have people so as in know for me, we talking about subject or infectious situation. So roaches are infections. They, it's billions of them. Millions of them don't even know that they're infected. They don't even care if they're infected. The other billion of them know, like, okay, I'm cool with being infected. And you know what I'm saying? It's security is what I get out of the mentally. Is I saw what you were saying earlier. Is and then it's people. It can relate to people being infected too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right, right. And I'm glad you said that. Glad you said that. Okay, so what been, have there been? Have you ever experienced the type of the
Asking me
yeah
if I what did the anxiety you just said?
yeah like the invasive or the
No, never.
never
Because I know that is infected, and usually they just in love with each other.
right. All right, so the other types of anxiety, um, I also described anxiety as it's like a sensation of falling without ever reaching the ground. Um, the sensation of falling with no reaching the ground creates a specific psychological situation. Human beings are wired to seek resolution, and resolution requires boundary, a floor, and a stopping that signals sense has ended. When anxiety removes the boundary, when it simulates endless free fall or bottomless depth, it activates urge to survive as a survival mechanism. This is also, one of the ways I describe anxiety. Uh, you know, convincing the individual um, that drastic and maybe the only way to manufacture an ending. Anxiety becomes capable of life altering decisions because services remains prolonged deprivation. The brain prioritizes immediate relief over long term consequence. A fight may will justify because confrontation, promises resolution. Isolation may feel necessary because withdrawal promises safety. The will protective because dominance control. And in case self-sabotage or reckless behavior may feel like the only way to interrupt the unbearable sensation of endless disdain. Anxiety is dangerous not because it always lies, but because it amplifies. Selective amplification distorts proportion. And when the proportion is lost, reaction replaces reflection. And that substitution can ripple outward into consequences that outlast the episode itself. So now that's where we want to sound mind versus being mental sound. Identity operation. This is segment 5. Now, as previously discussed before, y'all, there is a critical difference between having a sound mind and being sound, and understanding that distinction is foundational to preventing some shame from attaching anxiety. Sound is to core cognitive integrity, and the ability to distinguish reality from distortion at foundational level. Can you um can you kind of elaborate that for me?
Mentally sound and being respectful about what you talk about, mentally sound, and this that you talking about is a sound mind and comes after that and with that. But having a sound mind, not have to be um perplexual.
Meaning,
I mean, it's just sound at the end of the day. It is sound. So the differences between sound mind and mentally sound is mentally sound is knowing it's just sound. The sound mind is really shown.
okay, makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Um, that makes a lot of sense. So, okay. Um, so as before, as we said before, when the distinguished difference between a sound mind and being a sound. Now, since I'll describe the sound mind, we're gonna go ahead and explain um, being mentally sound. Okay, being mentally sound refers to operational regulation. You know, to capacity, calmly, or proportionally, and attention in real time. Um, a train can be perfectly engineered and still derail a solid until experiencing devastation. Um, the existence of anxiety, it does not invalidate the integrity of the structure. It challenges the stability of operation. excuse me. Excuse me. If you conflict operational disruption with anxiety failure, with identity failure, excuse me, you risk internalizing anxiety as proof of defect rather than recognizing it as a state fluctuation requiring recalibration. So, regaining control over anxiety does not mean pretending derailments will never happen or that infestations can occur. It means developing the awareness, and the discipline to react quickly, to identify early, and restore before escalation distorts perception. Discipline is not meant. It's exercise the brain through structured thought, grounding techniques, and predictable routines, and reflective questioning. Um, it strengthens neural pathways that compete with catastrophic um, um, not, you are not your derailment. You're not your infestation. Not your fall. You are the architect of the tracks. You know, the steward of the house, the operator of the train. And while anxiety tests your alignment, it does not define your trajectory unless you relinquish authority over your internal world permanently. Mastery is not the absence of anxiety. Mastery is the refusal of anxiety become the architect of your vision. This concludes today's episode of anxiety. Um, Once again, um, I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. I want to give a shout out to.
This was a beautiful episode. I actually this episode right here. This is my favorite one. I'm not trying to talk on this thing. You know what I'm saying? It'd be way more funner. But you know, like I said, it's some people just there that just supposed to do it, just be there, and there's some people that's here for a reason. You gotta step up to the plate. Stop being shy. God loves you. You know what I'm saying? Keep it positive, and we think about that like that.
Yeah, so I'll give a shout out to my better half. I'll shout out to my Lord Third Eye, aka Mr. Philly Mac. He helped me this episode, and
It more to be said. We said, um, mentally sound. I hope y'all got that part. You did.
thank you again. I'm gonna give a shout out to my husband because he's my rock. He's my
I love you, babe.
I love you too. Okay. Oh, so I want to show both of us because you know me and my baby we share a birthday, motherfuckers, and our birthday just last. Feel me on February 8th. So I'm just giving both a shout out and happy because our birthday ain't over yet. Um. So yeah. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. It's not over yet. We'll definitely touch up more on this subject and more and the subjects to come in the future. But for now, that's all. Once again, make sure y'all
dangerous. Man.
make sure y'all
That's what you tell them. Stay safe.
yes, and make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe to the channel, spread or share with family, your friends, or like needs to really hear needs to hear this message, um, and for more content coming your way. Y'all can DM me or whatever want, record me, or put it in the comments if y'all want to record me, um, topic idea, like topic conversation for this, whatever, shout outs and all of that. But other than that, this is today's episode. So y'all have a great night. Remember about you. And don't let anxiety contact your visions. Okay. I'm your host, Princess the Goddess. This is Reloaded, um, After Dark. week. Hold on.